to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzy. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend, and how could you not? The Sixers get their most encouraging win of the season. No question about that. Eagles give you some fine drama. What's going on with their defensive coaches? Everybody's gone now. How did it go down with Denard Wilson? We'll talk about that. And why we can't have nice things in Philadelphia when it comes to our baseball team. And, well, in particular, 19-year-old, 6'7", 99-mile-per-hour throwing stud pitchers. Why can't we have nice things? Even though Bryce Harper is supposed to report to camp on Wednesday. So maybe we can have nice things. All that and more on today's program. And for the people on the podcast, I just wanted to let everybody know I'm playing hurt. Do you see this, people? Do you see what's going on there? For the people on YouTube, I don't need to whisper to the people on YouTube. You see that? That's a burn. Yeah, I'm playing hurt today. I was taking a pizza out of the oven, okay? Because, of course, I was. And I'm like, ah! See, what it had called for was putting the pizza. The missus was away for a little bit, so I was taking care of the kids, and Little Toots wanted a nice pizza, so Daddy made pizza. And it was a frozen pizza. That's what was available. And put it on the rack. And then I went to get it with the pizza pan to slide it under and pull it out. And I just ended up knocking it all the way back in the back of the oven. So me thinking, I don't need an oven mitt. I don't need an oven mitt. I got the hands of a surgeon, the steady hands of a surgeon. And I go to reach in and I'm like, ah! And there we go. Guess who's got to host the Maxwell Club dinner on Thursday night with this John on my hand? This guy. Nobody cares. I understand. Nobody cares. But just want to let you know, I'm playing hurt for the good people of Philadelphia today. Let's start with that 70. I need to start on a positive. That 76ers game against the Milwaukee Bucks, snapping the Bucks' 16-game win streak that we all watched on Saturday night, was the most encouraging. Not only was it the best win of the season, it also equals the most encouraging win of the season. And as you guys know, and I've been saying it really since the All-Star break, what my ask was, what my request was for the 76ers. Give me a reason after the All-Star break to just believe, just have hope that the Sixers were going to be not another second-round exit team, but at least an Eastern Conference Finals team. At least be that, please. And this game, this win over the Bucks, there was the Brook Lopez 3 with about 6 minutes left in that fourth quarter. And I thought, well, you know what? It was a good run. Sixers are down 6 now, and I think that's going to be the nail in the coffin. Sixers fight back. James Harden gets you some buckets as he was incredible in that fourth quarter. Really throughout the entire game, he was incredible, particularly in that fourth quarter. And then they come back to within, I believe it was 1. Then Drew Holiday gets a 3 from the corner. Corner threes have just been like, for the Sixers, like that Oprah gif where it's just like, you get a school, and you get a school, and you get candy bar, and you get a car, and da-da-da. It's like everyone gets corner threes against 76ers. When we watched the game against the Mavericks, it was just, everyone gets corner threes. Same thing in this game against the Bucks, for whether it was Grayson Allen, who I hate his face. I just can't stand him. But he's hitting threes for you. Brook Lopez is hitting threes for you. It was just unreal. But anyway, go back to Drew Holiday's corner 3 in that fourth quarter. I thought, okay, you know what? Another good run, but still, they're going to lose this game. It's going to suck. And then James Harden came back. And then in that fourth quarter, what was really amazing, because it was driving me nuts, especially because I had his over on as part of my parlay, had his points total as part of my parlay. On Joel Embiid, he was passing up these little bunny jumpers right at the foul line. And Brook Lopez was just backing off, and he was giving him like 3 feet, 4 feet of space. And Joel Embiid's like pump faking. And I'm thinking, what is it? Just shoot the ball. Shoot the ball. And he kept on deferring. He was passing out on the wing to DeAnthony Melton. He was passing to James Harden, which I had no problem when he did that. But I'm like, oh, great. Joel Embiid's not even close to 100%. He had left the game earlier. I think it was in that second quarter. And he ended up coming back, which was great. But in that fourth quarter, he's passing up on all those easy shots. I'm like, well, great. Now they're not going to have Joel Embiid down the stretch here, and they really need Joel Embiid. 40 seconds left in the game. Dribble drive, penetration, James Harden from the wing. Dishes out, top of the key. Joel Embiid, pump fake, 3, good. Hits his parlay for me, thank you. Hits that leg of the parlay for me, I should say. And the Sixers go on to win with a big thanks to that shot. They just kept fighting, man. They just kept fighting. They didn't hang their heads. They could have fallen into a trap of this just isn't our night. The Bucks have, as I mentioned earlier, won 16 in a row. What are we supposed to do in this scenario? This is just a team that has everything clicking. Well, the Sixers respond with such a great night by their leaders in particular. And you look at this from Sixers stats. Joel Embiid's 31 points, 10 assists, and James Harden's 38 points and 10 assists are they become the second pair of Sixers teammates ever to post at least 30 points, 10 assists in a single game, in the same game, since Wilt Chamberlain and Hal Greer both did it. 10-30-65, October 30th, 1965, in a win over Cincinnati. How about that? Cincinnati Royals, if I'm not mistaken. Oscar Robertson, maybe? But an absolutely incredible win by the 76ers and 48 points in a quarter. This is another amazing thing. Not only did they come back and they win this game against one of the best teams in the NBA, second best team in the Eastern Conference, and already NBA champion, and already MVP in the Giannis Antetokounmpo fella. But they come back and they score 48 points in that fourth quarter, most points they have scored in a quarter all season long. And they did it in the fourth quarter in a game that, as far as confidence goes for the fan base, a game they had to win. It was a must win. You could go and I saw somebody already comment because I put it out there that was that type of win it gives at least hope that the Sixers will not be another second round exit team. And one person responded, well, now they're a shoo-in to lose to the Pacers. And they face Indiana tonight in Indiana, so this road trip continues. But the Pacers are a team that have really snuck up on some teams, on some good teams. The Celtics, they had a really good run against the Celtics a couple weeks ago. They're a team that just doesn't go away. They're a team that could be a thorn in the side. So, yeah, I would love for the Sixers to build on this, to just make this a momentum establisher. Like, we could be this good. And I loved the attitude from James Harden and Joel Embiid after the game, where they were talking about how well they were complimenting each other. They were talking about how good they can play. And when they look at the standings, for instance, in the NBA, and they look at teams like Boston, or they look at teams like the Bucks, for instance, or they look at a team like the Cavs, they don't even worry about those teams. They can't worry about those teams because ultimately the main point of James Harden and Joel Embiid postgame was that they can beat themselves and they have to stop beating themselves. The minute they stop beating themselves, that's the exact minute where they actually reach their full potential. And that's been what's so frustrating about this team, is that we know they could play better than what we have seen. And in that fourth quarter, of course, against the Bucks, they certainly showed they could be the better team. Now the Bucks, game and a half up on the Boston Celtics now in the Eastern Conference standing. Sixers now 4.5 games out of first place, out of the number one seed. But it was a huge win. Celtics lost last night, by the way, in double overtime to the New York Knicks. In just a wild game. The Knicks trying to hang around there, and they're now 39-27 on the season. They occupy the fifth playoff seed in the Eastern Conference. With how about this? The Brooklyn Nets occupying the sixth spot after shutting down Ben Simmons, as it was reported over the weekend. Not reported, the coach just flat out said it. They're shutting down Ben Simmons. How about that? How about that, folks? So I don't know about you guys, but that was the type of win for the 76ers that gave me hope that they can be a team that can actually make the Eastern Conference Finals. They didn't play like that against the Mavs. They certainly had the home game against the Heat. They certainly didn't play like that. Now it's a matter of establishing momentum and rolling through, hopefully, the rest of this season. Quote, unquote, well, fingers crossed, rolling through the end of this season. The one thing that I am taking away from that on the negative side of things is not looking to be negative. It's just something to be something to watch for is probably the better way to say this. Look, Joel Embiid had 31 points, okay? That's the bottom line. But seeing him leave the game, seeing him pass up on open shots, I'm not criticizing him. I am concerned. I'm concerned the health of the foot. Because every time the playoffs roll around, it seems to always be something with Joel Embiid. And it's a product of how hard he does play. But watching him leave the court in that first quarter, now that I think about And then seeing him with the way he was kind of playing passive, and it wasn't like he had wide open guys. He was wide open for those little jumpers, and for whatever reason decided to pass up on him. And they were giving him that shot, and he decided to pass up on him. Now, when they needed him the most, and he was open at the top of the key, he hit that three, and the Sixers won the game. But it's just a concern going forward, especially with as tough as a schedule as the Sixers are finishing the season with, going into the playoffs. I'm not going to say load management by any means, but I'm just saying it's something to watch for. I am concerned about Joel Embiid, and I am not the guy that every time he hits the floor, I freak out and go, oh, God, I hope he's okay. It's professional sports. Like, guys are going to get hurt. I understand that. But Joel Embiid in particular down this stretch with this team, and how I lamented on Friday about how worried and concerned you should be about the 76ers when it comes to the way they perform in the playoffs, and how worried and concerned I am when it also could mean the end of this run with Embiid and Harden, and what's the next revamp of the Sixers going to look like after this year. It is another cause for concern. Whether it's a broken face, whether it's a gastroenteritis, whether it's another broken face, whether it's a concussion, whether it's a hand issue, there's always something with Joel Embiid around playoff time, and I'd hate to see this foot issue linger into the playoffs. And watching him against the Bucks, I'm like, oh man, is he 100% healthy? And then you just check the box score. Oh damn, 31 points. You know, it was unbelievable. That 3-pointer put him at 29 points in that game, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, maybe he's not that hurt. That was an easy one for him. Very encouraging. Sixers, of course, they're back at it tonight against the Pacers in Indiana. Look forward to watch that game later, as I have a Wings game tonight. So I'll come home from that game and put on the Sixers. 7 o'clock tip-off tonight against the Indiana Pacers. Pacers 29-36 on the season. That's where they're at as of right now. They're coming off a 125-122 win against the Bulls. That's my concern. Now, the other thing was when James Harden and Joel Embiid were walking off the court, they were getting interviewed by Malika Andrews of ESPN. And she was reading off the stat to him about how they're the first pair of Sixers to do it since Hal Greer and Wilt Chamberlain, 30 points, 10 assists, that type of game. Absolutely unreal. Their reaction was great. They were very excited to have that kind of notoriety, be up there with names like that, right? But the other thing was, and I know it's after a win, and I know in particular it's after a huge win, but watching Joel Embiid and James Harden get along like that does give me hope for the future when it comes to what this team could bring forward. Maybe for another year. Maybe James Harden does pick up. James Harden basically has to believe that there is a championship ring here in Philadelphia. And he has to feel like he can do that with Joel Embiid. Now, regular season wins are nice, but winning like that in the playoffs, even better. And listening to or seeing some other reaction for it on social media, I think it's, and Roy Burton, who's been a guest of the show for the Broad Street Line, he tweeted me back on the old Twitterverse and said, that he would much rather face the Bucks than the Celtics. And I thought, yeah, absolutely. They match up well with the Bucks. The Celtics are in their head. The Celtics they're just a team that owns them. You can have Jason Tatum having one of his worst nights of the season, and then he'll still come up with a dagger to stick in you in the fourth quarter like he did last time the Sixers faced. That's just waiting for them. Giannis and the Sixers with Joel Embiid, it's a one hell of a matchup. We'll see what happens in the not-too-distant future here with Tobias Harris and P.J. Tucker, as those are guys that will be missed. And let's just say this. When we do talk about the 76ers and we talk about the starting lineup in particular, Tyrese Maxey was back in the starting lineup again for this Bucks game. And he played just as good as we have been begging for him to play throughout really the last 2 months of the season. And for him to get this opportunity, even though the Sixers are only 1-1 in these instances, as I called out the other day, you're going to start him against Kyrie Irving. All right, go get him, fella. Go get him. Well, he started. He played great. The Sixers lost. They started him again in this game against the Bucks. He played great. Sixers pulled it out at the end. And Maxey was a big part of that middle portion of the game where the Sixers started to come back from what was a very scary game. There was one picture that could sum it up. I don't have it for the people on the podcast, so don't you worry there. But there was one picture that summed it up rather well, and I want to see the score that they did this. Okay, third quarter, 2:34 left. in that third quarter. Milwaukee was up 95-77. There's a picture of Joel Embiid and James Harden looking a little lost. And then they also added to this picture the final score, 133-130, with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton and Giannis Antetokounmpo looking lost. That was well done. I believe it was by ESPN that put that together. So very encouraging win for the Sixers. As I said, their biggest deficit in the game was 18 points, and they just kept on fighting. By the way, I mentioned the Celtics losing to the Knicks. Worth noting, you know who missed the corner three that would have, I believe, won the game for the Celtics in double overtime? Al Horford. Helping us out all of a sudden. How do you like that? Let's get to some drama here, folks. Okay, let's get to some drama. This came out from Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. After being a finalist for the Eagles defensive coordinator job that went to Sean Desai, Philly defensive passing game coordinator and DB's coach Denard Wilson and the team are mutually parting ways, according to sources. That's exactly what happened. This is often the outcome when an in-house candidate is passed over for a promotion. I don't believe in mutually parting ways. Somebody's got to start the conversation. I will say very rarely does anyone ever go, is this working? No, I didn't think. Okay, cool. I didn't think so either. Okay, bye. All right, love you. All right, but you know what? Love you too. All right, anyway, good luck to you. That doesn't happen. Scusi. Very rarely does that happen. I'm going to go ahead and say it never happens after somebody gets passed over for a promotion. Something goes down. Now, there's some different reports out there about Nick Sirianni and Denard Wilson having a conversation, and Denard Wilson saying, I'm still very loyal to the cause here, and everything's going to be fine. And then Nick Sirianni apparently fired him. This is from Marcus Hayes, who also quotes a source or references a source. Nick Sirianni fired popular defensive back coach Denard Wilson on Saturday, sources say, after a meeting where Wilson pledged loyalty after Sirianni snubbed Wilson in his defensive coordinator search. Eagles have lost 3 defensive assistants from the number 2 defense. Gannon, Rallis, if you remember Rallis, the linebackers coach, and Wilson, who was the best. Apparently, a lot of players, Darius Slay, James Bradbury, who might not even be back anyway, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson all really like Denard Wilson. Now, a guy like James Bradbury and Darius Slay went to another Pro Bowl this year, or was named a Pro Bowler again this year. James Bradbury had some would call it a bounce back year after leaving the Giants, which was great. And a guy like CD Deuce, a guy that hadn't played safety since college, was all of a sudden playing safety for the Eagles after only playing nickel for the New Orleans Saints. And he comes up here with the defensive passing game coordinator and defensive backs coach, and all of a sudden he's playing like a Pro Bowler, and he's got 6 interceptions on the season. Oh, and this defense was pretty damn good, like the number 1 passing defense in the NFL. And you're passing up on the guy that was coaching him? I think Vince Quinn, when he was on with us last week, made a great point. If Denard Wilson was that good, and you want to stay with the same kind of game plan that you had, and you elevate your quarterback's coach to then be your offensive coordinator, why not elevate your defensive passing game coordinator, defensive backs coach as your defensive coordinator? Why not just do that? That seems pretty easy. Well, then it makes you think that Sean Desai has something special about him. It makes you think that, well, if Denard Wilson wasn't the guy and they went with this guy, yes, they could be making a horrible decision. They could be alienating players that might consider coming back for a couple of dollars less. I don't want to start saying that all of a sudden James Bradbury is going to take some hometown discount, or CD Deuce is going to take some hometown discount at all. But it might help that, I'm going to be coming back to this guy. All right, great. The Eagles are rolling the dice here. But nobody knows Denard Wilson better than the Eagles at this point. And they decided not to hire him as the defensive coordinator. And the other part of this that I find interesting, is you talk about the best defense in the NFL when it came to the passing defense. Well, 70 sacks by the defensive line. I mean, why wasn't Rocker getting more consideration as your defensive line coach? Well, maybe because today's a passing league and everyone wants to do everything they can to stop the pass. That would make more sense, I guess. But Wilson's out. Another rumor that's out there is Matt Patricia of the New England Patriots, apparently, has a chance to come here to Philadelphia for a role with the Eagles defense. It's reported out of New England by a Patriots reporter that I had never heard of that Matt Patricia has a chance to come here to Philadelphia. I don't know where that works. I don't know how that fits. I don't know what the Eagles do with that. I saw it. I was confused by it. I don't get it. Matt Patricia and Darius Slay supposedly don't have the greatest of relationships, considering Matt Patricia was out there in Detroit with Darius Slay for a minute, and it didn't end well. I don't see it. I've seen the report. I don't see it happening. I don't know how it happens. If the Eagles are moving on from Darius Slay, maybe this is a sign that it's actually that they are going to move on from Darius Slay. But I don't see any of that happening. Matt Patricia all of a sudden roaming the NovaCare complex with Darius Slay walking around. I don't think so. But as far as the Denard Wilson thing goes, here's my take on it. I think Howie, I think Jeffrey Lurie, I think Nick Sirianni all had a conversation. Either Denard Wilson did not really lead them to believe that he was pledging loyalty, as Marcus Hayes put it, and they just thought it'd be better after this guy was passed over for a position that it was time to move on. I don't believe in the mutual parting of ways, especially when somebody is passed over. Something happened. It might not have been as dramatic as a yelling match. How dare you? I'm the man for the job. It might not be the better, but it might be just something as simple as they talked to him. He might have said, yeah, no, I'm committed to the cause. They might not believe him, and then they moved on. But I don't believe – whenever I see mutually parting ways, somebody's avoid saying we fired him. That's what I think, especially if it's after passing up on a promotion. That's my vibe on it. Or it goes the other way. Denard Wilson says, thanks for my time here. I'm going to move on. Maybe it's the Eagles. Something I didn't think about before the show. Maybe this just popped in my head just now. Maybe it's the Eagles. Maybe it's the Eagles trying to cover their tracks and not be embarrassed by a guy leaving them. And look, when your defense puts up numbers like they did, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is probably the best example of why Denard Wilson will get another job soon in the NFL. If he could take a guy that was playing nickel in the NFL for his to that point in his entire career and making him into a safety with 6 picks, then yeah, I think that's a pretty good thing to have on your resume. That's a nice little brag right there. But maybe it's the Eagles simply saying, yeah, we'll say we parted ways. That way it'll be left to interpretation. But you don't want to say this guy just decided to leave you. That's not a good look for an organization either. But either way, it is a dice roll when you consider that Denard Wilson was a very popular coach on this staff. So the dice roll is, if you're going to bring in somebody better than him, he better be better than Denard Wilson. Because James Bradbury, I'd love to keep him here in Philadelphia. I don't see them keeping C.D. Deuce and James Bradbury. That, even for Howie Roseman's going to be a difficult thing to pull off with cap space and money. But having a coach that you know that those guys liked, that's going to be difficult. So hopefully it doesn't factor too much into the decision. But ultimately, it's just someone who's rooting for this team to win consistently, just like all of you. Ultimately, what matters is how good Sean Desai is. And apparently he's better in the Eagles' eye. He is better than Denard Wilson. So hopefully he can prove it as defensive coordinator for this squad going forward. Looking forward to talking some Combine a little bit later in this week. Maybe get a report from our friends over there at Inside the Birds. Looking forward to that. But something I do got to bring up. On a positive note, Bryce Harper is set to join the Phillies in spring training. Apparently he's all done with that dry swinging. You know? You can only do so much dry swinging. That term is never going to leave my head. But he's going to join the team in Clearwater on Wednesday. That's good news. Bad news is that Andrew Painter had some tenderness in his elbow after his Grapefruit League debut. And Rob Thompson was supposed to give an update yesterday on what was going on with the 19-year-old 6'7" fireballer and said, oh, maybe tomorrow. So today, hopefully, we'll cross our fingers that Andrew Painter is, he's good, just a little tender. Here's my take on the situation right now. Here's what I'm crossing my fingers for. Here's a little amped up. Here's what I'm expecting to hear from Rob Thompson today if he talks about it at all. He was a little amped up. His spring training debut is great for league's debut. A lot of anticipation, a lot of hype. So he was really, popping the mitt. He was really letting it fly. He has a little tenderness because of it, but he's fine. Please let that be it. Because I don't want a hyped prospect getting hurt, leading to more speculation, more anticipation, more buildup. Oh, he's gonna miss some time. Oh man, I don't want to hear that phrase today at all, because that's only gonna build to the drama. And then we're going to start talking more about who the fifth starter is going to be. And I think it's going to be Andrew Painter. But if he's hurt, then it might be Bailey Falter again. And the Phillies could go in a different direction. And a fifth starter by committee. Oh, I don't need any of that. Because what I saw from Andrew Painter in watching that game, the guy's just got it. I said on, what was it, Friday? No, it was a Thursday show. The ball just explodes out of his hand. It just explodes out of his hand. And I want to see that in the regular season as soon as possible with no delays. What are we, like 3 weeks away, folks? It's right around the corner. I can't wait to see him out there at the big league level at Citizens Bank Park helping this team win baseball games. I just see a good report today from Rob Thompson. Fingers crossed we actually get that. But it does make you think, of course. We couldn't wait to see him start, and now tenderness, great. Now what are the Phillies going to do? See where my mind's at right now. But we'll cross our fingers that everything's fine. Hopefully we get that report today. Let me tell you about my friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven Singer's been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people get engaged and fall in love. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price, online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. How about the great people at Manscaped? Check out Manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping at Manscaped.com. You'll enjoy their Platinum Package 4.0. Oh, it's fantastic. It's their best hygiene bundle yet. It includes the lawnmower trimmer. It also includes their Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. And they come with skin-safe technology that helps you reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. Go to manscaped.com, get 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Farzy. How about the people at where the heck? There it is. Freestone Farm CBD, FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Check out Freestone Farm CBD. If you like CBD, if you use CBD, check out Freestone Farm CBD at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You'll love the tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu. Kush. You'll absolutely think they're fantastic. Whether you're trying to relax at the end of the day, after a workout, whatever it might be, Freestone Farm CBD is the CBD you need to trust. Go to FreestoneFarmCBD.com right now. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. I had a lot of cleavage going on today. I thought I had this button. There's a lot going on there. Yeah, PJ's like, this is a family show. But yes, thank you to PHL Sports Nation, all the great stuff. I see who referenced it. Was it Fuji in the chat? Yes. I haven't sat down on a Saturday night to watch Saturday Night Live in a very long time. The Sixers game ended Saturday night, so I just stayed up and rolled right into Saturday Night Live pretty much. I missed the opening sketch, whatever it was. I didn't see it. But Travis Kelce crushed. First off, I think he crushed all night. But the opening monologue was fantastic. The little joke there, Jason Kelce, he had his brother there, he had his mom and dad there. It was great. Thought the joke about his mom having more screen time than they did, more camera time than they did was hilarious. I thought the joke about him, he's so poetic with words. He's like, here I am pumping on my sidelines, or my teammates on the sidelines. More. I thought that was great. And then, of course, the king of the jokes, was, Jason, you know that was holding, right? And then Jason just gives that deadpan look. It was perfect. And then Jason Kelce comes on later in the show, too, to play the boyfriend of Travis Kelce's ex-girlfriend in a sketch. This guy bothering you? That was fantastic. Absolutely great. Loved it. What else was great was the sketch with the dolls. That was one of the opening sketches. That was it.
Good morning, Daddy.
How did you get out of your room?
Good morning, Daddy.
Good morning, sweetheart. Lil Toots is back, man. Did Mommy let you out of your room? You hacked the system, didn't you? The gates are closed, man. She's little MacGyver's back, as Mally would say. I'm just about to do the chat check, sweetheart. Yes, is Mommy up yet?
No.
No? Okay.
I want Daddy.
I know. Hey, remember the pizza? Remember when we made pizza?
No.
The daddy burned his hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think Mommy's up now. She'll put on Sky Happy for you, okay? All right, love you, sweetheart. I'll be up in a little bit. Sky Happy is Paw Patrol, for those that don't know. People warned me about kids shows when we were expecting, and this you gotta watch out. Oh God, with this, you watch this. She's become a huge Paw Patrol kid, and pretty much any on the, I think Genevieve's Playhouse on YouTube is a big thing, and she loves that. And we found out she doesn't want to watch Frozen anymore. Really, she doesn't want to watch Little Mermaid or anything like that. She doesn't like the bad guys. We finally cracked the code on why she only wanted to watch these playing, not unboxing videos, but they're people playing with toys, and she doesn't want to watch the Disney movies because she doesn't like the bad guys. She's still terrified of Ursula. I have to tell her every night, no, I kicked Ursula out. She's gone, man. Hit the bricks, Ursula. Anyway, but yeah, she also knows how to unlock all the locks. So that's good. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, April. Anytime Grayson Allen loses, it's a good day. April, I couldn't agree more. I just thought the kid was such a punk, thug. Couldn't stand him at Duke. Can't stand him in the NBA. And when he hits threes against my team, I don't like him either. Mihai, what's up, Mihai? Morning market, everyone. Great Sixers win. Great fight. Harden finally coming out strong. Got to earn top 2 seed in the East, though. I would love to see it. Fuji, good morning to you, my friend. Sean Gillespie, good morning. April, you're the one that brought up SNL. Thank you. Jason Kelce was actually pretty funny on SNL. Glad he got to pop in with his brother. He was great. I mean, it was just a great – I'll say this. SNL – now, Lorne Michaels, the producer of SNL, always says that everyone's favorite run of SNL is like their adolescence years. It's their late grade school through high school years. Those were they really loved SNL. And that's definitely true for me, even though I started loving SNL way earlier than that, probably 4th, 5th grade. And still love it. But I haven't sat down and watched it in a long time. It's just not as funny as it was to me. And this episode, not just because of Travis Kelce, but this episode was great. Not to go off on a tangent about SNL, but just in general, this episode was great from start to finish. I was laughing my ass off the entire time. And I thought Weekend Update crushed it, as it usually does. And then just the sketches, especially that doll sketch that they opened up with, it was fantastic. And the sketch of the crying and all that stuff with that Jason Kelce ended up coming in on, that was great too. Travis was definitely nervous. Honestly thought Jason did better. April, well played. PJ's chiming in. I still have to go back and watch the episode. That's my homework for tonight after the day. Sixers? Never mind. Sean Gillespie, Lil MacGyver returns. Yep. April, that girl's going to have a future in safe cracking. Yes. April, oh my God, my daughter was the same way too. Funny, too funny. She would freak out with any show with a villain. Yeah, it's a little touch right now. Sean Gillespie, Lil MacGyver using her skills for good, for the better. Yeah, well, hopefully, Sean, that's what you're saying. Hopefully, Lil MacGyver will use her skills for good. I hope so too. Let's all cross our fingers and hope for that. Because I've said this for a long time when people ask me about, like, Eddie, what do you think she's going to do when she gets older? First off, she's 3. Second is, well, if I had to guess, two things. Lil Toots is either going to be president of the United States or collect money for the mob. Those are the only two things I really see in her future. Maybe the collecting money is actually stealing money where she's cracking safes. I don't know. But those are the two main options. Those are the two main options it seems to be for her right now. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. 76ers. Oh, wait, hold on. There's one more positive thing to mention. How dare I forget to mention this? Flyers, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start on the positive. The Philadelphia Flyers won last night against the Detroit Red Wings 3-1. That was nice. Carter Hart was in net for 24 saves. Nice little night for Carter Hart. That was fantastic. Nicholas Delorier came up with a goal for the Flyers. That was nice. Chuck Fletcher got booed at a season ticket holders event, and Steve Coates had to tell the people, don't ruin it for everybody else. Steve Coates is one of my favorite people ever to walk around Philadelphia. He's the kind of guy that's so fun-loving that when he gets mad, it's really scary. So when he got mad or annoyed, perturbed, whatever, if you haven't seen the clip, it's out there. It's hilarious. But there's an event for season ticket holders. I want to say it was at the Xfinity Live. And Coatsy is introducing people, and Chuck Fletcher's one of them. And boo! Then he introduces Danny Briere. Yay! But Steve Coates said, hey, don't ruin it for everybody else. What did I just say? Don't ruin it for everybody else. Here's what I do like. Chuck Fletcher did own it. It still doesn't make me like him any more or less. Good for him that he owned it. It's a good thing. But this team just feels directionless. And Chuck Fletcher is the guy that's supposed to give them direction. When you're losing, when you're not playing well, and there are no championship aspirations, I guess, there's no championship in sight, you want to at least know that there's, God, I don't want to use this word, but there's no other word I can use. You want to believe that there's some kind of process that you're following and that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Where's the light for the Flyers? You can look at Carter Hart, sure. You can look at Urson, sure. You'll go some other guys on this roster, maybe. But where's the light at the end of the tunnel? I give credit to Chuck Fletcher and the Flyers for at least going through with the season ticket holder event, knowing what was going to happen. But that's not exactly a lot of praise. They could have canceled it, and yeah, they would have looked terrible. But the fact that they kept it going, good for them. I like the fact that Flyers fans were voicing their frustration because that's exactly what needs to happen. That's exactly what needs to happen. I remember Pat Croce hosting season ticket events for the Sixers before they started winning with Iverson, and he would take it on the chin, man. He would take it on the chin. One-on-one, answering questions. And he would just take it, say, you know what, you're right, we need to be better, and he would own it. In a way, the Flyers did that with this. The first step in solving any problem is acknowledging you have a problem. Flyers certainly have a problem. And Flyers fans are the people that need to make sure they're holding them accountable. Because Flyers fans are very dedicated, very passionate people. And I'm talking about the number one guy. I'm not talking about the casuals. I'm not talking about the people who call me when they're in the playoffs. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the 20 to 30,000 people that are showing up for every single game. That's who needs to hold this Flyers team accountable. And that was one way to do it. So I hope the Flyers fans at least feel heard after that. Now it's up to the Flyers to reward these very loyal fans that are growing ever more impatient. But Flyers, they did get the win yesterday over the Detroit Red Wings. They're back at it tomorrow at Tampa against the Lightning. So we'll see how that game plays out. Sixers, 7 o'clock tip-off tonight against the Pacers. Pacers on the season, 29-36. They come into this game winning 3 of their last 5 games with wins over the Mavericks. This is why I tell you can't sleep on this team. They also they lost to Boston, but they took them to overtime. I mentioned the game against Boston. They actually lost that game in overtime against the Celtics. But they're coming off a win against the Bulls. So we'll see how that game plays out tonight. Look forward to watching that game. Sixers are favored by 6.5 points. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. You guys are great as per usual. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Going to be a little bit of an interesting week. As I mentioned, I'm hosting the Maxwell Club dinner, an awards show on Thursday. I'll be up in the Poconos on Monday and Thursday. So I'll make sure you guys still have that fresh content. And hopefully some good guests as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Jim Hyde approves the program. Did a wonderful job as per usual. This is the Farzy Show, a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Have a great day. Talk to you guys tomorrow. See you.